Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2024 religious horror Immaculate. The film is directed by Michael Mohan and it stars Sydney Sweeney and Alvaro Morte. Right, the film focuses on Sydney Sweeney's character, Cecilia, who is a young woman with devout faith. She heads off to Italy to kind of take her vows and become part of this picturesque um, nunnery, I suppose, a convent. Everyone, for the most part, makes her feel really, really welcome. And then, kind of out of the blue, she becomes pregnant. Everybody declares this a miracle. She starts to become immediately concerned. She doesn't feel like she's being cared for appropriately. And everybody's calling all this a miracle. And she's getting very, very suspicious. And she's tries to kind of make her getaway, for which she's not allowed. Things then turn even more sinister. Right, what are my thoughts on Immaculate? Well, Sydney Sweeney. She's everywhere right now. I mean, she's had an interesting 12 months or so in regards to movies. She did the comedy that I thought was decent. Certainly a pretty good. She showed she had good, comedy timing and all that kind of stuff. Then she did Madam Web, which we won't talk about. And to be fair, I don't necessarily think she was the problem in Madam Web. And now we've got Immaculate. So she's really, really dipping her toes in the water in Hollywood, is Sydney Sweeney. And she seems to be flavour of the month. I don't understand why. Mystery to me. Yes, she is a very, very beautiful young girl. So for her to try her hat at a horror film, I think is commendable. You know what I mean? And this has been kind of getting a lot of traction, if you like, a lot of interest. And I think it's kind of come out at a strange time as well, because it's come out at a similar time as The First Omen. And in a lot of ways, they are very similar films for different reasons. And obviously, if you haven't seen this and you haven't seen The First Omen, I don't want to spoil any of it, but they're almost like companion pieces to each other, these films. They are kind of like different ends of the scale sort of thing on storylines, but share a very, very similar DNA. I think Sydney Sweeney is absolutely fine in this film. I think she does a very, very good performance, a very strong performance. I believed, in her faith in the film. I didn't believe it didn't feel like she was an actress playing a part. I believed her character, and as the film progresses and it gets darker and more vicious and brutal, I thought she handled all that side of it very, very well too, and her performance intensified. There's things going around now on the social media and internet and YouTube, Hollywood producers calling her out saying she's a poor actress and stuff. Well, bullshit, I would say. I think she's absolutely fine. I think she's proven that even if this last 12 months, she's proven she could do comedy. She's tried a hat at a big Hollywood film that didn't work out, but it wasn't her fault, and now she's tried this, and she's absolutely fine in this film. I think some of these jealous people and producers need to probably keep their mouths shut. And there's a real sense of dread and, just filtered throughout this whole film. From frame one, you never kind of, you feel something's not right in this film. It might just be a glance from somebody. It might be a suggestion. It might be full-on torture scenes of nuns that are kind of questioning things. It kind of goes from this simmering sense of dread and unease to slapping you across the face with a salmon, this film. Because the last, 30 minutes or so of this film is full-on intense, is the word I'd say. Now, I love that because I'm used to found footage films. And found footage films, for the most part, follow a very, very familiar pattern. You know, they kind of plant the seeds throughout the film, and you get a few bits and pieces here and there to keep the hooks in you of scares and this, that, and the other. And then the last quarter of the film is like kicking you in the balls almost in regards to intensity. And that is this film. It kind of follows the same DNA of a found footage film, but it's clearly not. It's not found footage. But the last quarter of the film, a little bit more, is, you know, someone literally kicking you in the balls. It's like full on intense. It's brutal. It's visceral, and it's unapologetic. Those of you of a sensitive nature will probably not appreciate it. I mean, there's more intense things out there. I don't think it's trying to be brutal and controversial or anything like that in what it does the last quarter of the film, or third of the film, whatever. It's actually, it's more reminiscent of the ending of Get Out, if you like, because she quite clearly wants out. Cecilia, played by Sydney Sweeney, she wants out. They're not letting her out. She has to take matters into her own hands, and boy does she. She goes full on Rambo to some degree, and it's a great watch. The conclusion of the film. Some people might. I think it will depend on what kind of film watcher you are. If you're quite an impatient film watcher, because the first part of the film is, you could probably say the pacing isn't brilliant. It's quite a slow burn. I don't mind that because I liked the setup. I like the location. I like the way it was filmed. I like how the characters were written, and the fact that there was just this sense of unease and stuff for me. So that was enough to kind of keep me interested, and then to see how it just kind of kept notching it up, the intensity, until it got to the point where it just it went off the dial. The intensity, it just went full on, of that sort of thing. So I was quite impressed with this film. If I had to pick one, I would probably say The First Omen is a better film, a creepier film. But while they do share the same DNA, they are not the same type of horror. The Last Omen is like supernatural horror sort of thing, demonic horror, whatever you want to call it, and this pretends at times to be that, but in actual fact it's a different kind of horror. It's more the horror of what humans are capable of, this one, rather than anything supernatural. So yeah, they do share some of the same similarities, both the films. You could probably argue it's not fair to compare them, but I probably enjoyed The First Omen a little bit more than this one, but I still would recommend that you guys check this one out. It is definitely worth a watch. So thanks for joining me for this review, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful. I will, of course, be back with plenty more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.